Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to another live stream and welcome back to Arsenal transfer news. Honestly, we will be discussing lots of these, stories at 10 p.m. I'm around 8 minutes late, and it's really understandable. I was really working on something technical, and I think now everything is okay and everything is fine. Well, how has been your day? Let me know in the comment section where you're watching from and how your day was. We're gonna be speaking Marcus Rashford. We're gonna be speaking about Marcus Rashford. Now, Arsenal, it looks like Mikel Arteta is really interested in Marcus Rashford, and I would love to give you my take on Rashford, and also get your take on what you think about Arsenal signing Marcus Rashford. Is it a transfer that would really bring out the words of Mikel Arteta, especially those he said yesterday that in the market in the summer we'll be trying to get players that make our squad stronger, make our squad better. Does he make us stronger? Does he make us better? Now, yesterday the Express did come out and said, look, Arsenal are looking to sign Marcus Rashford, and they revealed a price that what is in negotiations there, what is being looked at, could be around 45 million pounds. That's a lot of money. And when I think about 45 million pounds, and I think about the players we could get in 45 million pounds, forwards that we could get for 45 million pounds, forwards that are really on form, forwards that are really on fire, forwards that really have the potential, I question myself whether Marcus Rashford is the best player out there Arsenal can go for. But of course, the best thing we can do on this show is to discuss, share with you share with me your opinion, and I'll be sharing my opinion as well about Marcus Rashford and why I think maybe Arsenal could look. Arsenal could look somewhere else. Could have been looking at Rafinha as they were playing Leeds playing Manchester City, and I thought to myself, yeah, there are talks between Rafinha and Bayern, then Rafinha and Barcelona. Actually, it is being reported that he's having advanced talks with Barca. But then I just thought, what if Arsenal maybe went in there with around 45 million, with that 45 million that we want to go and sign Marcus Rashford? Maybe. Maybe. And of course, a couple of other options that we'll look at in this video. But of course, I do have a couple of comments. Anu says, I do not think Arsenal need Rashford. That is Anu. And then Derek says, another thing is that Derek says, I trust in both Rashford and Gabriel Jesus. They can have a big impact, especially in the Champions League. Right? And says another thing is that they are used to the Premier League. It's easy for them to adapt to Arsenal's style of play. Now, there's so many points in there he's talked about. He talks about, I don't want to involve Gabriel Jesus in this because I feel Gabriel Jesus has been playing constantly well for Manchester City ever since signing in 2017. Marcus Rashford had a breakthrough season. Was it 2017 as well, or 2017, 2018, around there? He was a teenager, and he's still a very, very young player. So I don't want to come here and say he's done, he's not good enough, or anything like that. He's still a very young player. He still has a lot of time to turn his career around, be it at Manchester United, be it at Arsenal, be it anywhere. I think, he's young, and there is a lot of time for him to turn things around. But my argument and my point around Rashford here is, look, this season, he's been absolutely horrendous. Actually, I think he's been absolutely terrible. He did start off with an injury at the beginning of the season. That could have, held him back a little. And many people will use that as an excuse, people who want to defend him as a player. But my question around Rashford is he the potential that, the media and many fans think he is? Does he really have that potential? Because, I think there are two things here. If we can review some of the seasons he's played for Manchester United, I actually can't believe this, but he started in the 2016 2017 season, played 32 games in that campaign, scored 5 goals and assisted once. Then the following campaign, 2017-2018, played 35, scored 7 goals and recorded 5 assists, right? 2018-2019, he played 33, scored 10 times and recorded 6 assists. 2019-2020, played 31 games, scored 17 goals. That was a super season for him. And then 17 Premier League goals and recording 7 assists, right? Last season, 11 goals, 9 assists. And then this season, only 4 and 2 assists. Of course, this season, it's hard to bring everything against Marcus Rashford. It's a lot. He's only 24 years of age, by the way. So that means he really started playing football because this will be his 6th year playing in the Premier League. So he really started at a very, very young age. And of course, we still remember that time when he scored a brace against Arsenal. That was his kind of breakthrough season. But my question here is Marcus Rashford that quality, right? We all kind of agree that there is a player in there, and I know many of you are going to tell me, Cossy, there is a player in there. I think Marcus Rashford, cannot be judged by this season, and I will agree to that. We cannot judge him only by this season. But if you look at the other seasons behind, he's been performing at a top level, right? Because last season, 20 goal involvements in the Premier League, and the season before that, he had 24 goal involvements before that. Actually, his path as a player has been a bit progressive. Actually, not a bit progressive, but very, very progressive. Because in the first season, he recorded 6 goal involvements. Then the season after that, he recorded 12 goal involvements. And then, the next season, 16 goal involvements. Then the next season, he had 24. And then last season, he had 20. So, it shows that he's really developing as a player, right? And he's 24. And I think one of the things I will talk about here is that if we defend Gabriel Jesus on becoming a great player, he has great potential and everything like that. He's just 25. Then probably Marcus Rashford also needs that kind of amnesty or that kind of protection as a player. So let's first try to analyze this season. It's been a very difficult season for him as a player and collectively as a unit for Manchester United lads. Honestly, they lost the manager almost halfway through the season, and Rashford didn't start the season with injuries. He's actually only played 25 games this campaign, and if you look at those 25, he's probably started around 15. He's been coming off the bench. He's not had a very, very good time ever since Rafinha came in. It's always been about Elanga and Jadon Sancho. So he's not had the game time he would have wanted. As a player who played 37 games last campaign, and 31 before that, and 33 and 35 in the previous campaigns, respectively, he would have wanted to have more game time. He has not got that. Probably that explains the numbers, the injury, and everything. So to answer the question, though, is he that quality? I do not think the fact that this season has been bad really defines who he is as a player. But then also, I don't think Marcus Rashford, honestly, is at the level many people think he is at. I don't think he will hit those levels many people think he will hit. I think he might become a good player for Manchester United, and my best advice is he should stay at Manchester United. My advice is, 100% I would say, if I'm Marcus Rashford, the first thing I'll be looking at is to stay at Manchester United. That is because at United, you have that group of fans that understand who you are, that group of fans that will understand you're young and you're developing, and the demands, of course, are going to be there always. Especially now we have with Erik ten Hag coming in. I'll speak about that later. But with Erik ten Hag coming in, the demands are always going to be there. Honestly, the demands are always going to be there. But the fans at Manchester United will appreciate and will understand and will sympathize with Rashford better than the fans at Arsenal. And the reason is this. coming into Arsenal, he's gonna be competing directly with Saka and Martinelli and the likes of Smith Rowe. And then also you have to remember that we have had a similar player who has had who's had a terrible season in Nicola Pepe. So if you come in and you are Marcus Rashford, the first thing you have to do is to prove that you're better than Nicola Pepe, right? And I think that will take him some time. That would really, really take him some time to come into this Arsenal style, get used to the way of play, and get used to how Mikel Arteta wants to set up his team. Beat the likes of Martinelli and Saka, who've been in very, very good form, and the reason as as to why Arsenal are where they are this season, it would really take some time. It would really take some time. So I don't think Arsenal fans will have that kind of patience that United fans will have. Because for me, Rashford next season, he could just bail himself out. All he needs to do is score 10 goals and create 5 assists. I think for him, he can't do that. He really can't do that. I think I see Marcus Rashford as a player who can give you 10 goals regularly. And I see a player who can give you 5 assists, in a season, more on a more regular basis. And why I think that transfer makes no sense here is Nicola Pepe can do that as well. Honestly, if Pepe is given 25 games in a campaign, you know how much I no longer rate Pepe. I no longer rate Pepe that much like I used to. And I thought, just give him some time, especially in that last season with that Europa League performance. He just kept on pushing me against the wall. Give him some time. He's going to work hard. I think Pepe can give you 10 goals and 5 assists. Pepe can give you 10 goals, 12 goals, or 15 goals and 7 assists in a campaign. So bringing in Marcus Rashford for Nicola Pepe, I do not think, it would not make any sense for me. And then the other thing here is Rashford coming into Arsenal, I do not think you're gonna bench him. I don't think he wants to sit on the bench. One of the reasons, according to Fabrizio Romano, why he started considering his future elsewhere is he wants regular team football. And actually, he said that after realizing that Jadon Sancho and Anthony Elanga had actually moved ahead of him in terms of picking order and who starts and everything like that. So he was like, okay, I think I need to consider my future. I'm not going to sign a new contract with United very, very early. I need to know who the manager is, which manager is coming in. But I also need to know, am I going to start on a regular basis? And we've seen it with Mikel Arteta. Arteta doesn't love egos. It's one thing I've seen about him. I've not loved it about him, but we've seen it. He literally hates players with egos. He literally doesn't like it. And look, he's happy to come into a press conference and say, yeah, Martinelli not playing football, Nketiah not playing football is my fault. He's doing very well, and I'll decide when I play him, right? So Rashford to come out and say, look, I'm going to be deciding my future. I'm going to be considering my future. I'm not going to sign a new contract. I'm not going to sign a new deal with Man United. In my opinion, I'm going to say that is a bit scary. If you say that and you're in Mikel Arteta's side, you might never play ever again, honestly. And we know that is true. We know that much is true. You might never play ever again. So, I think about it. But it might not be a big problem. It might not be a big problem to, bringing him an Arsenal and bringing in that kind of competitiveness. But then there is something I talked about in the morning show. Rashi is a good winger. And Erik ten Hag is one of those managers, unless he changes his style when it comes to Manchester United, something that I don't think is going to happen overnight because he's built his time for some time. If ten Hag comes in at United, he's going to need players, wingers, quality wingers that are going to try to stretch the pitch, widen the pitch, and stretch the defense of the opponent. Mikel this season, at least according to what we've seen, that is very similar to what he's trying to do. So my argument is Ten Hag then would need Marcus Rashford to stay, and would give him game time. The moment Ten Hag comes in and says, look, Rashford is not the level or is not the player I want to work with, then I'm going to say we should stay away from him. We should stay away from him. Forget the fact that he's played in the Premier League. Forget the fact that he's played in the Champions League before. Forget all that. He is he is a winger, right? And he loves staying high up the pitch. He loves stretching the pitch, running at a terrific speed, and things like that. That is exactly how Erik ten Hag loves to set up. We've seen it at Ajax this season. The likes of Anthony and Dusan Tadic at times staying very high up the pitch, right? So if Rashford is kicked out at Manchester United, kicked out of Manchester United, I don't see reason as to why Arsenal bring him in. Honestly, I don't see why a reason for Arsenal to bring him in. Just let him be. Let him stay wherever he is. Absolutely, right? Because for me, at the moment, what United are trying to do is what we did last summer. They're trying to have this kind of evolution. They're trying to wash their squad. I don't want them to wash their squad and then they wash their squad into our into our little quality that we've built, right? So I'm gonna say if Ten Hag comes in and says I'm going to try to build my team around Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford, I'll be okay with Arsenal trying to die all the way and try to sign Marcus Rashford tooth and nail. But the moment he comes in and says, look, Rashford is not the man, is not the player I'm looking at, back the hell off, right? Back off. There's so many other options out there that can give you what Marcus Rashford gives you. Derek has said in the comments that he loves Rashford because Rashford has played in the Premier League and would help us in the Champions League. Look, I don't think there is a guarantee that he would help us in the Champions League, but he's played in the Premier League. So has Richarlison, so has Rafinha, and all of them have very, very good numbers. So for me, a player playing in the Premier League, I've always considered it as a very good factor because he doesn't need to get to adapt to the league. He doesn't need to waste that time adapting to the league. But then literally doesn't mean that if a player is Premier League proven, he's gonna work out for your team. I mean, it doesn't really mean that. I'll give you an example of Mathieu Debuchy. Debuchy came in for us from Newcastle to Arsenal, right? Arsene Wenger loved him. I don't think it really worked out. I don't think the likes of Callum Chambers as well. So it's always a win-win. It's always a win-win situation with transfers. It either works out or it doesn't. It's more of a gamble. It's always a gamble for me. I don't want to see one of them in our club. That is Yahya. I don't want to see one of them in our club. Hi, Cossy, how are you? I'm doing so well. Gaming. I have seen somewhere that Arsenal are in talks secretly with a solo striker by the name of Skamaka. Now, I've seen the story as well. I can't lie about it. I've seen the story as well. Arsenal interested in Skamaka. Look, he's one of the strikers that were wanted by Juve in January, but then they decided to go for Dusan Vlahovic, but he was on the transfer list of Juve. I've not seen anywhere that Arsenal are in talks with Skamaka, and I don't remember that we were hugely interested. He scored 13 goals this season. I was looking up his statistics. He scored 13 goals this season. He's highly rated. That is what I can say. Highly rated. But I've not seen the talks. Probably by not any of my sources has broken that. Not any of my sources has broken that. But the moment I get it from a trustworthy source, then I'll be able to share with you, right? So I've not seen it anywhere from a trustable source. Because instead of Rashford, why not go for Richarlison? And then MDS says, can Haaland join Arsenal? Look, I think with Rashford, can Man United even sell? I'm asking myself. Of course, his contract will be running down. They need him to renew, and if he doesn't renew, then he will leave. But I think with Marcus Rashford, it's all about that guarantee. I think he's one of those players that just need the guarantee, and they need a reason, right? He might need a transfer because he needs a reason to perform again. He needs a reason to play again. It's more like the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, such players that just need, probably a reason at the current environment, or just change of environment, and they will do well. Can Haaland join Arsenal? It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I can't say it can't happen, because if you look at the release clause, it's only 75 million. So Arsenal can easily pay the release clause. Can we pay his wages? Can we pay the wages City are offering? I think we can sign him if the player has interest in joining us over any other club, which I don't want to foolishly believe. To myself, I don't want to lie to myself that Haaland wants to join Arsenal over Barca, Madrid, City, and other clubs. So I won't really say that. But what I can say is, in transfers, anything can happen. His transfer fee is not huge, only 75 million. So if Arsenal can strike a deal, why not? Right? If you can convince him, you can convince his family, you can convince him about the project and how fast it's going to be, because he's a very, very young player. Can he give you probably 2 years of his career as you try to build that massive army? I think that is what it would take. Can Arsenal tell him that we're gonna sign you, but then behind you we're gonna have Martin Odegaard, and then we'll have probably Lucas Paqueta, Thomas Partey, Ruben Neves. We're gonna have these giant names. We'll have Saka on your right, and then on your left we can bring you, if you want, probably whoever, right? But are you going to surround him with the quality? Because honestly, I'm going to say this: if you look at the quality at Arsenal and the quality at Borussia Dortmund, the difference is not too huge. It's not very, very the difference. Yes, we do have some quality players in there, but the difference is not too huge, right? I think they also have very quality players in there, the likes of Torgan Hazard, the likes of Jude Bellingham. Actually, I think we do not have a player as talented as good, not talented, but as good as Jude Bellingham, especially where he plays. The likes of Mahmoud Daoud, the likes of Gilles Brandt, they do have some good players in there. So to attract Haaland, you have to show him that, yeah, we might be almost at the same level as Dortmund, because Dortmund are even playing in the Champions League. So you have to convince him that for us, we are a project, and Dortmund are not a project. Because Dortmund are literally a stable ship. They're not dreaming of winning anything. All they want is buy these players, keep them together, and try to sell them, right? Survive dropping out of the top four, in the German Bundesliga, or probably top 3, and just keep on selling players to survive, right? That's it. And that's why you see in the German Bundesliga, Bayern have won it 8 consecutive times. I think even more. It could be even more. I'm not really even sure. So that's it. So Haaland to Arsenal, not an easy one, but you never know. Yeah, you never know. Yes to Jesus. Okay, now I'm having a couple of people now that really love Jesus. No to Rashford. That's according to Allison. Rashford will be a wasteful transfer with his 200k wages. I want to say something. I want to say something about Marcus Rashford, and I'm gonna ask. It's gonna be a question. Do you think he will ever get to where Kylian Mbappe is now, right? Do you think he will be in that tier or tier? I don't know how you pronounce it, of the likes of Haaland, Mbappe, Pedri. Because honestly, if you ask me, will Pedri be in the tier of Mbappe? Yeah. Will Ansu Fati be there? I think he will. I will probably Gavi as well. Those young talents that I feel will be there. Do you feel Marcus Rashford has the potential to be up there? just to be up there with the big guns, right? Do you think he will ever stand probably on that Ballon d'Or podium? Because we've always had Manchester United fans saying he is the English Kylian Mbappe, and the previous performances and the previous seasons have actually not been that bad, honestly. Right, playing in the Premier League, playing under pressure for a club like Manchester United. I think if he played for PSV, for PSG, he would have better numbers in the Farmers League. Probably not in the Farmers League, okay, but in the in the French League 1. But do you think he's got the potential to be up there with the likes of Mbappe? Let me know in the comment section. I would really love to get from you. Rashford is a great player. Rashford at 45 mil is a great steal. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets very interesting, and that's why I wanted to discuss Rashford Arsenal with you, and probably just share my opinion and then get yours. Right? I don't think he would massively improve us, though. I don't think he would massively improve us. If you look at this statement, let me try to show you. If you look at this statement from Mikel Arteta. I hope I can show you here. Twitter. There we are. I'll move myself out of the way just a little bit. And then I try to show you this. So this is Mikel, right? This is Mikel. And so he says, we want to make the squad stronger. We want to make the starting 11 stronger. We want to make the specificity and personality of our players stronger. And that's what we are going to be seeking to do. There are a lot of questions, there are a lot of question marks there, but this is football. A very honest opinion, a very, very honest opinion from Mikel Arteta, trying to make it, to make us understand what they want to do as Arsenal Football Club in the summer, right? And this is it from Footy Insider. Arsenal have registered their interest in Marcus Rashford, right? I'll keep it at that, just for a moment. So Mikel says we want to make the starting 11, the squad stronger, the starting 11 stronger, right? And the specificity and quality of our players as well, we want to make that stronger as well, right? And that is what we're going to try to do in the summer. Does Marcus Rashford make us stronger? Yes, he does. But then even signing Daniel James would make us stronger, right? Because, right, it's not only about additions, because any addition would probably make you stronger. Look, it would, because, it just gives you, at least if, the first thing any signing does, it gives you that squad depth. It gives you that allowance to have a couple on the bench, a couple in the squad. So any signing would make you stronger in the squad. So make our starting lineup stronger. That is interesting. Does Marcus Rashford, actually, how did I forget to ask this at the beginning? Does Marcus Rashford get into the Arsenal starting 11 straight away? Does he get in ahead of Saka? Does he get in ahead of Emile Smith-Rowe? Does he get in ahead of Martinelli? Point to note, in the previous seasons, he's outperformed all these players. Apart from these seasons, the previous seasons, he has outperformed all these players. Does that give him, that kind of, license to just walk into the Arsenal side? I mean, let me know. I would love to hear from you there. Does he walk in straight? In my opinion, following the season that Martinelli and Emile Smith-Rowe have had, I think he would struggle a little bit. he would struggle a little bit because with Marcus, yes, he can play as a 9, but he's not effective. These are two different things. Today I've been looking at Gabriel Jesus. Actually, Gabriel Jesus, scored once again. I think he's now scored 6 goals in the space of 1 week. I was talking about him being not clinical, and he told me, Cossy, what did you say? I'm going to show you that I'm clinical. Scored 4 against West Ham, against Watford, scored 1 against Leeds today, and he scored 1 against Real Madrid in midweek. So I think just exciting. We'll talk about Gabriel Jesus, probably in another Let's Talk video. But this video is about Marcus Rashford. So, but why I wanted to bring in Gabriel Jesus is, if you play Jesus to the right or to the left, he is effective. And if you play him down through the middle, he is effective as well. But Marcus Rashford, as a striker, he is not effective. And I feel he doesn't have an ego. He doesn't have that kind of big ego. But his involvement in terms of applying pressure and working with the team and trying to help the team win the ball back, it doesn't convince me. It honestly does not convince me. But one thing you have about him is, he always provides an outlet, especially when you play the likes of the big guns or teams that really love to have and caress the ball and can keep it. You can sit back and you can release him all the time. He's good at that. He can create massive opportunities, in that way. But then I think Martinelli can do that as well. I think Saka can do that as well. And they're good at pressing, and they're good at, applying pressure, and they're also good in front of goal. So I don't see him as a massive upgrade to this Arsenal side. But of course, let me know. Do you think he walks straight into our team? Or do you think, no, he doesn't? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know. I'd love to know, what your opinions are there. Arsenal want no player who don't have little or interest to play for us. That is according to Mattis. Is it Mattis Small? Rashford can't be in the caliber of Haaland. Mbappe, never. Okay. And then here we are. For any team to reach UCL semi-finals, you need squad depth. Martinelli and Rashford playing at left wing will make Arsenal covered really well. Look at the Man U match versus PSG in the UCL. Okay, right. Great example, though. Great example. But again, you cannot judge a player because of one, heroic performance, or 2 or 10. There is that bit of consistency. There is that bit of, doing it over and over again, right? I mean, you cannot sign him and he sits on the bench and then you wait until when you play when you play PSG, Bayern in the UEFA Champions League. No, right? So is it that consistent? Is it that consistent to be in the Arsenal side over and over again? If you say he is, well and good. I agree. But then if you say he's not, because you really cannot tell me that a player will be playing for you in big games, because he's and why I think in big games he's a very, very good player is because he's good at sprinting. But we know what Mikel wants to do. He wants to have the ball all the time, and he wants to have his wingers high up the pitch, and those wingers must have the ability to successfully beat players in the wide areas 1v1, like what Saka gives you and what Martinelli gives you. You must be able to beat wingers or wing backs 1v1, right? Because that is the reason that's why you're always high up the pitch. You're trying to stretch play, and the moment you're always high up the pitch, you're going to receive attention. You're gonna always be marked. So you need to be able to beat your players 1v1. 1v1 Marcus Rashford, his success rate, I don't think it's that impressive. But of course, listen, I agree with your point that for you to go on up to the UCL semifinals and finals, you need that quality, right? The quality that Madrid are showing in Benzema and Modric and Vinicius Jr. You need the quality. Is Rashford the man to give Arsenal that quality? He can't give us the squad depth, but then can he give us that quality? Okay. Because I don't think Arsenal needs Rashford. That's according to Romex. MDS says, and you can't judge a player by his performance this season. Rashford is a good player with that potential. Didn't agree. I mean, didn't disagree. I don't think he's an awful player. And I've gone through his seasons, by the way. If you've just joined, we've gone through his seasons, his past seasons. He's been progressively doing well, right? Progressively doing well. But our summer, this summer, is not. I don't think it's a summer of try and fail. Last summer it was a summer of try and success, try and fail. If any player came in last summer and they failed, it would have been okay. It would have been fine. But this summer we need to be going for a little bit of a risk, but also a risk that has a bit of guarantee that he will work out. Right, and that's why, to some extent, I agree with Mikel that if you go with if you go for homegrown players, they played in the Premier League, they've they understand the league and things like that. You might just be on a safer side because that's what they want to do. They want to go for homegrown players as well. So I'm not trying to judge Marcus Rashford because of this season, and that's why I asked you: do you see him fulfill that potential that has been set above him? You are the English Kylian Mbappe, right? Do you see him get to those levels? And the no's and the yeses are not coming from my mouth; they're coming from people in the chat. Okay, right. More here. MDS, do you think can Eden Hazard join Arsenal? If he comes, the quality will become more better at the left wing forward. Okay. Do I want Eden Hazard at Arsenal? No. 100% no. I think the problems of Eden Hazard have taken his quality away as well. You have the wages that I think Arsenal do not really need to, take on his wages. I mean, it would be really serving Real Madrid of a very poor, probably it wasn't poor transfer decision, but then it turned out to be a mistake. So, I mean, it would be us walking in, right, Madrid, let's save you from this burden. Let's just save you. I don't think Eden Hazard should come to Arsenal. Can he come to Arsenal all day long? He's in a position where even if he's Dortmund coming in and they're willing to pay his wages, Madrid always, honestly want him out. Madrid want him out, right? So any team, I think he's reached that point where he's more like a Filippo Coutinho now. Even if it's Aston Villa and they're guaranteeing him game time and his wages covered, he will come. But with Eden Hazard, yes, the quality was there. I think at times we get very, very nostalgic with players like Eden Hazard. We are reminded of their time in the Premier League as compared to their recent performances and seasons. He's been disturbed by injuries, and I don't think Arsenal need to take that risk. Huge wages. If you signed him right now, I think it wouldn't be very, very comfortable. He can come in and work up. You never know, but I would definitely not go for that. It's not a decision that if I were Mikel, I would go for. Probably never. Absolutely never. Never. All right. Okay. Let's see let's see more of this. So sorry to say this. I forbid to have Rashford to be in Arsenal. Jesus, Gakpo, Edon, Zegrova. Who's that? Who's that? I don't know anyone. I've not seen Edwin Zagrova can give you that run in the wing. That is something I was talking about, right? That is what I was talking about. That going for Rashi is good, right? But then can you do some kind of improvement? That is what you always have to look at in the market. And I think we discussed a lot of this in the last transfer summer when we were discussing Ben White and we were discussing Ben White and Odegaard. Was it? Yeah. Remember we discussed Odegaard and Madison, and then we discussed. I think it was Ben White and the likes of Tapsoba. Sorry, just a moment. Just a moment. All right, lights back on. Now we can continue with the chat. Now, yeah. So we can continue with the chat, right? So, look, what I was saying with what I was saying with Rashford is, I mean, it just reminds me of the Ben White debate and the Odegaard debate, which Mikel Arteta won eventually. But I've always thought, in a transfer window, you have to go with the better option there is. Honestly, you have to go with the better option, option there is. If Rush is there, and then you have Richarlison, and then you have Rafinha, and you can get all of them, I think you need to really think hard. Unless it's going to be a tactical decision. But I don't see how Rush comes in at Arsenal, and then Arsenal massively upgrade. I don't see. Probably the caliber of strikers or caliber of forwards I want this season are out of reach. If they're out of reach, and I don't think they're out of reach. I don't think they're out of reach. If you get Gabriel Jesus, who I think would be a fantastic signing, though, then you go for someone like probably this year. I'll do Gabriel Jesus and Dominic Calvert-Lewin over Gabriel Jesus and Marcus Rashford, because I know Gabriel Jesus can play on either wings, right? And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin gives us the number 9 feeling. It gives us that number 9 threat. Aerial prowess, good, physically good. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. All right. Arsenal don't sign good players. Arsenal make players. Like they did. I think they will work on Rashford, and we will get the results. Okay, I'm going to talk about that just in a minute. For me, Rafael Leao, brilliant player. Is better than Rashford, but he is 70 million plus. Rashford is the next big thing if we can get him at 40. Furthermore, he is a proven Premier League player. Right. So talked about Rafael Leao, and then DMS talked about the fact that Arsenal do not sign big players. We make big players. That was the feeling around Liverpool, right? That was the feeling around Liverpool when they signed in the likes of Filippo Coutinho and made him a huge thing. When they signed the likes of Luis Suarez and made him a huge thing. When they signed in, who else did they make a huge player? I mean, let me know, Liverpool. Who else did they make a huge player? And then they slowly started realizing that football has changed. And as Arsenal fans, I would really ask you, lads, do not get stuck in the past. Do not dare get stuck in the past. It's horrendous. It's the worst thing you'll ever, think about, right? Let me ask you, lads, who of you would be not happy if we signed in prime Paul Pogba? Or who of you wouldn't be happy if we brought in Erling Haaland? None, right? None of you wouldn't be happy. But then, if you talk about us making players, then it means we have to go and sign in Patrick Schick, right? So the reason as why I used Liverpool winning the Champions League recently and the league recently, and now becoming one of the best teams in the world, they realized that we have now to start going and signing finished articles in Salah, because Salah had a very good season. Before signing them from Roma, Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Luis Diaz, Fabinho. You need to sign that quality now, right? There is a time when you have, when you make players. I think we've tried to do that. We brought in 6 players that actually the whole squad that we have in Arsenal right now is apart from Partey, Lacazette, the rest of the players, we are making them, we are turning them into world class. We are turning them into massively quality players, right? But I think there's going to be a time when Arsenal need to say, okay, that's enough. Now we need to sign in quality, because we're competing with Liverpool. We're competing with Man City. We are not competing with ourselves. I was listening to Ralf Rangnick this season, in a recent press conference, and he made a very interesting point. He said the situation at Manchester United doesn't need to take 3 years. It can take 1 year. And I totally agree with them, because if you look at that United side, direct rivals to Arsenal, but next season they could be totally different. Now they have a superstar manager. They can easily sign in superstar players, huge quality players. They have the capacity to bring in Darwin Núñez as a striker. They have the capacity to bring in Ruben Neves and Aurelien Tchouameni in that midfield pivot. They have the capacity to bring in Anthony from Ajax and Timber from Ajax as well to deal with the wings and part of the defense. They can bring in anyone. Right? And I don't want us as the fans to always be going, oh, Chelsea and Manchester United are buying trophies. For us, we are building. That's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Many fans come in and said, Man City, Chelsea, and Newcastle are spoiling football. But then we have always cried of Arsenal should, the crankers should be going out so that we get caring buyers who want to spend. The reason that's why we want caring buyers who can spend and who want to spend is because we are tired of this bullshit system of we are building players as they go away. We are tired of that, right? We are tired of that. Get in the structure, then fill it with already made players, win trophies. No one wants to know how you won the trophies. No one ever wants to know how you won the trophies. All people want to know is, do you have the trophies? You have 13 Premier League titles. 13 league titles, 3 in the Premier League. Good. But then City have won 6 ever since you last won. You've not won anymore. And since then, City have won 6. Liverpool have won. Chelsea have 6 as well. And how many do Manchester United have ever since we stopped winning in 2004? And what is the strategy of these teams? Are they grooming players? Is Chelsea grooming players? No. Is Liverpool grooming players? They have stopped doing that. Just look, I don't disagree. Arsenal can have their own right back, like Trent. Like we could go and promote Brook, right? And then he comes in and does a very good job. I agree to that. But then it doesn't hurt for us to go in there and say we have Thomas Partey, and now we've brought in, probably Orange Germany, right? Because you need that quality, right? So saying, oh, Rashford is one player we can make, we don't have that time. We don't have that time. Ever since we won the trophy, we're going to 3 decades now. Ever since we won a Premier League trophy. Unless you lads are not tired of seeing FA Cup 14, FA Cup 13, FA Cup number 12. You need to challenge for the world's best trophies. That is the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. And you cannot challenge for them as you sit back, groom players, and then you sell them to the likes of Madrid and Chelsea. You can't. Hi Cossy, how are you doing? How are you doing, Ahmed? How are you doing? Well, Edon Zagrova is playing for Lille. I've not really watched Lille a lot this season, but I'll try to look at him. He's a fantastic lad. He has the speed, quick, as Messi, and can score the goals. I'll try to look at him, Roland. I'll try to look at him. Marcus Rashford, no. I mean, I just wanted you lads to share your opinion, and I will not try to jeopardize, but I want to facilitate the discussion. I think Arsenal can get Lucas Paqueta and Lautaro Martinez. I think that depends on where we finish in the Champions League. In the league, why do I mean, I'm really desperate for us to go back to the Champions League, but that depends on our league finish. Paqueta, get Champions League, you can get Paqueta. You can get Lautaro Martinez. But the moment you don't have it, it would be more of a hassle. Yeah, it would be more of a hassle. And I think someone said Richarlison, no. Yeah, I said Richarlison, no. Okay, and it says, okay, MDS says, okay, but still, we can't sign big players. Even now, it's important. We need massive quality. All right. Rashford can't gradually improve our squad. Rashford can't gradually improve our squad. Better you place and take Olise better than Rashford. Olise at Crystal Palace. The couple of players I would pick from that Crystal Palace player, from that Crystal Palace side. Look, I'm not dying for us to sign only big names. If you give me a Conor Gallagher, I would take him with open arms. Conor Gallagher, open arms, because he's not yet at at that Luka Modric level, but he's got the potential to be there. Probably in 5 or 6 years, he can be there, right? So I don't disagree with Arsenal going for the quality and potential, but if there is a chance that we go for the quality that has arrived, that is the better thing to do. Hit the like button for me, people. Hit the like button. Hit the like button for me, people. It massively helps out, right? So look, we need to talk about Marcus Rashford, and I hope you guys have had a chance to take this off your chests. Any news about Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal? Anything that comes up, I will be letting you know. I think Arsenal can get Lucas Paqueta and Lautaro Martinez. So look, lads, that's it. I wanted us to talk about Marcus Rashford so that we get your opinions. And I think now I know where you stand. But anyway, we'll speak again tomorrow in the morning. Happy New Month.